Okay students, today we are going to discuss the number of for loops in our SJF CPU scheduling C program. So this is the third program of operating system part A lab, and this program is only to understand or to simulate the working of CPU scheduling algorithm known as SJF, that is shortest job first. In this video, I am not going to explain the logic of the code, but I am only going to concentrate on how many for loops are there and what is the purpose of each and every for loop. So let's start searching for how many for loops are there in this particular program. So when we start searching for the for loop, I see here there is one for loop. So let's number the for loop. This is for loop number 1. Then I see there are two for loops. So this is an example of nested for loop. Let's give this nested for loop number 2. This is our second for loop that we have found in our program. Then I see one more for loop over here, and let's number it as for loop number 3. Down you see there is one more for loop. So let's number this for loop as for loop number 4. And as you come down, you see there is one more for loop. Hopefully this is the last for loop of our program. And let's give this for loop the number as 5. Okay. Is there any other for loop down? No. There is written 0 statement. So that means our program is over here. So this SJF CPU scheduling algorithm program has 5 for loops. Okay, now let's go and check what is the purpose of loop number 1. So the first for loop, if you see, the I value starts with 0, and as long as I is less than n, these statements are going to get repeated. That means this for loop will be executed n number of times. And what is the purpose of this for loop? This for loop is used to accept the burst time from user for each and every process. So the purpose of the first for loop is to accept the burst time of the processes from the user. Then there is one more statement here. What is this? So there is an array called as P. Name of the array is P, and we are storing some numbers into this P. So let us see what are we storing into this number. The moment we accept the burst time of the process, we are also storing the number of that process. For example, process 1. Then we accept next number, next burst time. So we say, what are we accepting? We are accepting the burst time of process 2, and we are storing the number 2 for the second process. In our FCFS program, we did not store the process number into an array, but for our SJF, we are storing the process numbers also into an array, because we are going to swap, or we are going to sort our burst time array as per the shortest burst time. And when we do that, we also want to sort the process numbers, so that we want, if at the subscript 0, if the burst time of process P4 comes, we want to shift the process P4 to the subscript 0. And that's the reason we are also storing the process numbers into an array. So array BT and array P, they go hand in hand. If there is any change in array BT, there is definitely a change in array P. Fine. Then for loop number 2. So this is an example of nested for loop. This nested for loop is used to sort the BT array as per the shortest burst time. The process with the shortest burst time will be shifted to the beginning of the array, and the remaining larger processes will be towards the end of the array. And when we do that, we also change, or we also shift the process numbers in our array P. How it works? Not in this video. You might have done the bubble sorting algorithm in your data structures. So exactly the same logic we'll be using over here. In my next video, I will have a separate video which explains the logic of sorting of this burst time array. So just remember that the second number for loop, which is a nested for loop, is used only to swap or is used only to sort the burst time array as per the smallest to largest or in ascending order sorting of the burst time of processes. Then there is array number 3. What is the purpose of this array number 3? The purpose of this array number 3 is to calculate the waiting time. So this array is used to calculate the waiting time of each and every process. Next is fourth for loop. And what is the purpose of this for loop? The purpose of this for loop is to calculate the turnaround time of each and every process. And comes the last for loop, which is for loop number 5. And if you see the body of the for loop, what is there in the body? We are calculating the total waiting time and we are calculating the total turnaround time. And this, along with this calculation, are we doing something else? Yes. What are we doing? We are displaying the details. What details we are displaying? We are displaying the process number. We are displaying the burst time. We are displaying the waiting time as well as the turnaround time of each and every process. So it's very simple. When you try to learn the program, please don't by heart statement by statement. First find out what is there in the program. So in this program, if you see, there are for loops. How many for loops? 5 for loops. What is the purpose of first for loop, second for loop, third, fourth, fifth? So once you understand the purpose, you will understand the program and you don't have to by heart. You will write it on your own. So in this video, that's all in this video. Thank you.